Hello and welcome back to Religions of the World. Today we will talk about Jainism. Here is the symbol for Jainism, which bears a lot of different things. So I want to spend a little time to explaining first what it is that you can see in the symbol and what it teaches us about Jainism. Let's first take a look at the bottom part where you see the hand with the round symbol inside. I guess you can probably figure out what it means when somebody does this to you. It basically means stop, right? But now you want to also know what the circle means inside. When you think about the circle and what you've learned in Hinduism already, what comes to mind? Maybe samsara? Maybe the circle of life, of the reincarnations that happen many times to the Atman? Those things apply in Jainism as well. So yes, so we have stop, samsara, but then there's something in this, you don't see it, but there's something in the middle of it. Here you can see what's in the middle, even though you can't read it because it's in Sanskrit, but it means ahimsa. Remember what that was? Ahimsa is non-violence. So in other words, that bottom part of the symbol means that you can stop samsara if you practice ahimsa. In other words, you can find moksha or enlightenment or liberation of the soul from the cycle of reincarnation by practicing ahimsa. And now to the top part of the symbol. It probably mostly surprised you to see the swastika symbol here that has been misused by the Nazis, as you might have read in the introductory paragraph already. This is really a symbol of divinity and spirituality in Hindu religions. Here you see a more detailed version of the swastika symbol with all its different meanings. The 4 different squares that are in the swastika indicate on the one side heaven and earth, or heaven and hell, sorry. Now hell is not intended the same way as we might know from Christianity or Islam, where there is a place that is an eternal damnation and away from God. That does not apply here, right? But hell in this case is the lowest forms of being that are certainly below heaven, and heaven is not the same thing as in Christianity and Islam either, right? It is just the place where the liberated souls are. And then on the other side you have humans on top and the animals below that, so you can see the ranking in terms of where a soul is incarnated. And then you have those 3 dots on top that we saw in the other symbol. It is the right faith, the right knowledge, and the right conduct. And then on top of that is again that little cupping thing with the yellow dot on top, and that is the abode or the seat of the liberated soul. And so all of that together becomes part of the symbol. But let's take another look at this. Aside from the hand and the swastika symbol and then the abode or the seat of the liberated soul on top, you also see the shape of the symbol itself. That is not by accident either. The shape actually symbolizes the universe, and Jains believe that the universe has always existed and will always exist, that it has never been created and it will never be destroyed. So Jains do not believe in any kind of creator god. Here's an excerpt from the Mahapuranas where it says there is no creator god, right? Some foolish men declare that a creator made the world. The doctrine that the world was created is ill-advised and should be rejected. If God created the world, where was he before creation? If you say he was transcendent then and needed to support, where is he now? No single being had the skill to make this world, for how can an immaterial God create that which is material? How could God have made the world without any raw material? If you say he made this first and then the world, you are faced with an endless regression. If you say that this raw material arose naturally, you will fall into another fallacy. For the whole universe might thus have been its own creator and have arisen naturally in the same way. If God created the world by an act of his own will, without any raw material, then it is just his will and nothing else. And who will believe this nonsense? If he is ever perfect and complete, how could the will to create have arisen in him? If, on the other hand, he is not perfect, he could no more create the universe than a potter could. If he is formless, actionless, and all-embracing, how could he have created the world? Such a soul, devoid of all modality, would have no desire to create anything. If he is perfect, he does not strive for the three aims of humanity. So what advantage would be gained by creating the universe? If you say that he created for no purpose, because it was his nature to do so, then God is pointless. If he created in some kind of sport, it was the sport of a foolish child leading to trouble. If out of love for living things and need of them he made the world, why did he not make creation wholly blissful, free from misfortune? If he were transcendent, he would not create, for he would be free. Nor if involved in transmigration, for then he would not be almighty. So the doctrine that the world was created by God makes no sense at all. And God commits great sin in killing the children that he himself created. If you say that he kills only to destroy evil beings, why did he create such beings in the first place? Good men should combat the believer in divine creation and maddened by an evil doctrine. Know that the world is uncreated, as time itself is, without beginning and end, uncreated and indestructible. It endures through the compulsion of its own nature, divided into three sections: hell, earth, and heaven. That's what we read in the Jain writings, that the universe has always existed and never will end, and it was not created. So Jains believe that there are 6 eternal substances. There is the substance of the soul, the jiva or jivatnam, where the atman is in there, right? The word atman. And the other matters are non-soul matters. And there are space. Then there is just the stuff itself. Then there is a medium of motion. That means that things can move and that things can be at rest. And then that there is time. Those are the different spheres or eternal substances in which that exist, that have always existed and will never disappear. Now what can change, of course, is the constellation of these things, right? So in reincarnation, the soul gets incarnated into some matter, but it's not just a matter that is just floating out there, it's also a matter that has come together in a body, for example. And a body can have a beginning and an end. But once the body disintegrates, it's the matter of it itself does not get lost from the universe. It is still around. And the soul may be also without matter around it for a little while until it might come back together again and form another body that is living within space and time and is in motion sometimes and may also be at rest, like maybe a mountain, for example, that does not move. But those are the 6 elements that are eternally around. and may change their constellation, or will always change their constellation, but they do not get lost from the universe. So then going back to this graph again, you can see that on the bottom part, the bottom triangle, symbolizes the hellish beings. Those are the places, where the souls are that are incarnated on the very bottom. As a matter of fact, there are some souls that always are incarnated in that area, that never rise up, and then there are other souls that can rise up higher. When you come a little bit further, here in the middle point, in that narrow part, that is actually where the world that we know is located. That is the abode or the seat of humans and animals. This is where we live. That's where we are. And then from then on, going higher up, is again the abode of the demigods and heavenly beings. Now, that's not to be mixed up with angels or with gods, or so the way that we might know from other religions. It is just that those are more enlightened souls. Those could be human beings in their last step before moksha, or before liberation. And then all the way on top is the seat of the liberated soul, right? So that's where the soul is free from any kind of matter or incarnation, and it is around in the universe. Now, what's around that, outside of that universe? Well, there are 3 atmospheres actually. The direct atmosphere that's outside of this true triangle shape is dense water. Then comes strong winds out of that, and then comes thin winds, and then after that, beyond that, there is just simply emptiness, nothing.